Arvind reporting from Kyiv is now joining us. When he stands by as well, there are explosions that are taking place right behind him. Our reporters are right there, risking their lives, bringing you all these ground reports. Gaurav, how does the situation look like pan-Ukraine right now? You are standing by in Kyiv, and we just showed our viewers devastating images from all over Ukraine. If I could throw straight across to you for the latest.
So day 35 of this conflict actually seeing intensification in some areas, and as far as Kyiv is concerned, the number of air raid sirens, some explosions, but by and large, an effort is being made by the Ukrainian people to bring their lives back in order. If we were to talk about areas around the capital Kyiv, in Irpin and Bucha, the Ukraine army says it's been successful in pushing back some of the Russian forces. There were reports that seem to indicate that the Russians are pulling back, going towards Belarus, but Ukrainian army says that that appears unlikely to be true. This could well be reorganization, regrouping, and rotation of troops. Those who've been here for the past 1 month or so, those soldiers are going back and other soldiers are coming in. There is no reduction in Russian troop strength on ground around Kyiv. So the threat to Kyiv remains and perhaps may just intensify in the days ahead, even though in talks Russia and Ukraine have talked about reducing tension around Kyiv and Chernihiv. But you were talking about Chernihiv. Again, that was the place that was targeted. In Mykolaiv, a government building was targeted. Late night news here said there were 7 bodies that had been recovered from the rubble, and several others remain feared trapped inside when a Russian missile strike targeted an administrative building. Mariupol, where Geeta Mohan is reporting from, now that was under Ukrainian control till last week, but now yesterday you had Russian tanks rolling into Mariupol, and Mariupol virtually, except a couple of pockets of resistance by the Azov battalion, considered ultra right-wing, pro-Nazi or Nazis forces, they were holding out in some pockets of resistance. Otherwise, Russia is in control of Mariupol, and 90% of Mariupol, the buildings there have been devastated. So that is the level, that is the intensity of operations that are being carried out. And when there is conversation, Chetty, about peace talks and about forward movement, well, for negotiations and peace talk and a summit, will Russia actually move back to the February 24 position that Ukraine demands? And that clearly appears very unlikely to happen when the Russians have gained control of more than 90% of the Donbass region, which they had set out to do on the 24th of March. Yes, they haven't succeeded in a regime change in Kyiv, but they've succeeded in the Donbass region, which is a major aim as far as the Russians are concerned to have achieved in 1 month of this conflict.
You know, Gaurav, this is a really devastating situation for the locals there as well. One can only sit here and imagine the plight of what they must be going through at this point. So many displaced, devastated. Overnight, they do not have their families around them. They're all dispersed. Several who have become refugees, as you were reporting as well. If you could just get us the plight of the Ukrainians as, this war enters the 35th day.
So Kyiv, where we are right now, this is virtually a ghost city. Most of it abandoned, most of it. Like that, you can see a military checkpost behind us. We cannot show in greater clarity because that would, not be good as far as the fighting on both sides is concerned. But the entire locality, almost no one lives here anymore. They've moved to safer areas. Initially, they'd moved to Lviv. Now, since Lviv also in the line of fire, Ivano-Franko also targeted, which means cities to the west are also being targeted. So there are about 10 million people displaced. 3 million have crossed over across the border, 2.5 million in Poland. Now, these are huge numbers when you imagine 25 lakh people displaced in Poland from here. Lives disrupted. So many people have lost their lives. Women and children outside and men fighting here. Also, those who are fighting here, it is a very tough battle that they're fighting. Now, as far as the government is concerned, the government is telling people that they need to fill up a form, and every rupee or every grevena, the currency here, every grevena that has been lost in terms of destruction of property will be compensated by the government. But when will that actually happen when the fighting still continues? And the apprehensions are if these negotiations, they may show some positive indications, but if they do not move forward in the positive direction and the shelling continues, the situation could actually go from bad to worse in the days and weeks ahead. And that is what Ukraine is actually gearing up for. They're looking for more weapons. They're looking for more systems to be able to defend themselves. On the neutrality issue, President Zelensky there has been a climb down that they've said, yes, we will not join the North Atlantic Treaty Organization. And they've said that repeatedly now. But who ensures their guarantee? Would Russia be satisfied? Clearly not be satisfied with the US and UK ensuring guarantee. And how will they enforce a no-fly zone should something happen? So, the devil would lie in the detail on how these negotiations would be carried forward from this point on, Chetty.
Absolutely, Gaurav. You stay safe and thanks for getting us that ground report. We'll keep coming back to you for more. Once a bustling city of over 500,000 people, it's turned into a ghost town.
Now she and her...
Отойдите, отойдите, отойдите!
माहौल बहुत खराब हो रहा है यहाँ पे बमबारी बहुत पास हो रही है नेबरहुड के जल्दी से गाड़ी में घुसे सत्या A huge disastrous scene over here, a bridge that was blown apart. This is a city absolutely dead. Mariupol is maximum under Russian control.
Ukrainian military trucks that was destroyed by our artillery.
State of affairs of the city, craters of the rocket attacks and missile attacks, shards of glasses. Viewers' discretion advised. Visited journalist Satya Rautre in Mariupol. Geeta Mohan for India Today.
Once a bustling city of over 500,000 people has now turned into a ghost town. Relentless bombardment by Russian forces has destroyed the port city of Mariupol. India Today's Geeta Mohan visited the port city of Mariupol only to understand that the city lies in shambles. Here's a report.
Mariupol, a city under siege. Once home to 500,000 people, it now resembles a ghost town. Russian forces have been pounding the city that could provide them the much-needed bridge between Donbas and Crimea, the two regions controlled by them in eastern Ukraine. India Today entered Mariupol to get the world's first independent account from inside the city.
We are here on the way to Mariupol, a bridge that was blown apart by the Ukrainian side to ensure that the Russian side does not enter Mariupol. So a huge disastrous scene over here. We've seen many of these bridges that were blown up by the Ukrainian side to ensure that Russian advances are stopped. So another bridge over here. We're on our way to Mariupol, but this is what the scenes look like in terms of infrastructure that have been destroyed from the other side to ensure that Mariupol is not taken, a strategic city for both Ukraine and for Russia.
What India Today saw was a city in complete shambles. Residential areas, schools, hospitals, they all suffered damage. Under siege, Mariupol is also running out of water and food supplies. With no electricity and connectivity, people of the city are living their worst nightmare.
Уехать невозможно, потому что нет денег, и мы не знаем куда.
So first goal is he have no money. He have money on bank account, but banks doesn't work. He cannot take cash. And that's why he afraid to go anywhere without money. And also things he's showing that there is no water, so they can even wash themselves.
So that's why he's showing his hands, that there's no water to...
Yes, he said all of people now in city have such a hands because there's no water to clean yourself. They're bringing water so you can
Humanitarian aid is finding it difficult to get into the city and reach the needy.
Lot of massive destruction. You can see Ukrainian trucks that were destroyed on the 16th of March, and the destruction continues. The buildings over here completely in a shambles, destroyed. The city is under siege, but this is a port city. It is a city that is crucial. It is one of the most important battles for Russia as well. Mariupol sits right between Crimea and Donetsk. If this is captured fully, this is one of the biggest wins for Putin. This will be one of the biggest wins for Putin if Mariupol is under Russian control.
With many roads inaccessible due to mines and burnt-out military equipment,
боялись буквально выезжать отсюда. А сейчас, по сути, и ехать особо некуда даже, если вдуматься.
So they were afraid to escape of the city because they didn't have information. They didn't know where is danger or where is not. So they were afraid to get to a place where the place worse than here. So that's why they decided to be here. And now, for the moment, they suppose that to stay here is also more safe than to go somewhere. It's because they don't have information.
while the living are suffering, the dead are denied basic dignity. Graveyards are inaccessible and people are burying their departed loved ones in their neighborhoods itself.
A city under siege where people have not been able to escape. Loss of lives innumerable. So much so that the heartbreaking story of graves being dug for their loved ones in the very same colony where they're living, just beside the building which houses them, people are now burying their loved ones. That's how difficult life here in Mariupol is for people who either decided to stay back or have not managed to flee the city of Mariupol.
Many parts of the port city are now under Russian control. Mariupol is where Ukraine's Azov battalion is giving Russians a tough fight.
Yeah, it's a Ukrainian military truck that was destroyed by our artillery 16 March at night. Ukrainian soldiers drop the Vinnytsia and go to the Azovstal.
Right. So how much of the Mariupol area is now under Russian control?
At 60-70% of Mariupol now at control of military of Donetsk People Republic and Russian forces.
Nearly 140,000 civilians have managed to escape from besieged Mariupol. Another 170,000 are still trapped, hoping and praying that this war ends soon.
A city under siege. 2 days ago, President Zelensky admitted that there is no way to keep control of Mariupol. Today, Mariupol is maximum under Russian control. President Zelensky had wanted jets and tanks from the West, from NATO. But now, Russia put all its force to ensure that this critical city comes under their control. There were 4 lakh people when the entire operation from the Russian side began on the 24th of February, and now there are less than 1 lakh people. The state of affairs of people living, who continue to live in Mariupol, is absolutely in a very, very bad shape. Their life destroyed, and the city will take a long time to be rebuilt. With journalist Satya Rautre in Mariupol, Geeta Mohan for India Today.
India Today reports from the epicenter of devastated Mariupol. Once a bustling city of over 500,000 people has now turned into a ghost town. Relentless bombardment by Russian forces has destroyed the port city of Mariupol. In the series of ground reports from our correspondent Geeta Mohan, let's first take a look at this report en route Mariupol, where the bridge had blown up. Kilometers away, vehicles were burned, bloodbath was witnessed on the streets.
Shelling, mortar attacks on the way to Mariupol, trucks that have been burnt. There are charred bodies, graphic visuals, so viewers' discretion over here advised. But certainly a very, very sad scene. Nobody to really come and claim the body or even take the body. No postmortems because Mariupol is under siege. So a difficult time for people over here, even in the bordering areas. This is a sensitive area, so we'll have to move quickly from here, given that there have been shellings and sniper attacks even in this area. With video journalist Satya Rautre on the way to Mariupol, Geeta Mohan for India Today.
Attacks continue in the port city of Mariupol. While India Today's Geeta Mohan was reporting from the ravaged city, she witnessed blasts very close to the spot and had to move from the location to take shelter. Despite the shelling, some locals continue to stay back to defend their country.
You, Mariupol, why? Kyiv, Rus, why not?
Отойдите, отойдите, отойдите!
We had to take cover right now because the explosion was very close. Very, very close.
I'm from откуда? Откуда вы?
Huh?
Откуда? Ага.
India Today, India.
Индия. Ого, откуда вас слышно?
Okay, so Artyom over here actually asked us to take cover because now we see that the explosions are very, very close to this neighborhood. What is his opinion about?
Какое ваше мнение по поводу вот этой ситуации здесь, военной операции?
Это бред полный. Мы воюем против своих же братьев.
He said we're fighting against our brothers. It's very, very stupid, and he can't find the words for this.
Okay, and he intends to stay here, not leave?
То есть у вас намерение оставаться здесь, да?
Я буду уезжать в Киев. Лично я, да, а родители будут уезжать в Россию.
His parents will leave to Russia and he'll leave to Kyiv.
For Kyiv? Okay. Stay safe. Be good, Artyom. Stay safe.
Upon reaching Mariupol, India Today also found out that the scenes from the ravaged city were that of devastation, were that of damage from charred fire stations to residential buildings. Russian attacks have destroyed the port city.
This is Mariupol, a city under siege. Relentless firing, shelling and bombing. We can hear it through and through. Look at the state of affairs of the city. This is the fire station that has been destroyed in the shelling, in the bombing that took place over here. And the craters of the rocket attacks and missile attacks can be seen. That's the extent of damage. All the cars over here burnt. The buildings across, the windows absolutely shattered. Goes to show the kind and the extent of damage that the missile attacks and the rocket attacks have created over here. The magnitude speaks for itself with what you see behind me. Shattered glasses, broken buildings, destroyed cars. This is a city under siege. Russia wanted to claim the entire area, and it has done so. Now, Mariupol, most part of Mariupol is under Russian control, and to ensure it remains that way, that the firing that you hear is unending. People over here still are living, but only a few are left. Most of them have left the city or are trying to leave the city. There are humanitarian corridors on both sides, but that does not guarantee safety for the lives of people here in Mariupol. With video journalist Satya Rautre in Mariupol, Geeta Mohan for India Today. Shattered windows, blown up buildings, no electricity, no water yet. People over here are staying with bare minimum. A lot of them have not left the city. We were speaking to a few saying that they do not have the wherewithal. If they don't have money, they don't have the banks working, how would they then leave their homes? Many others do not want to leave their homes. All they have is little kitchenettes that they've made outside and are cooking with wood fire. That's how bad the situation is. There are authorities who bring in water, deliver water from both sides, and then that water is delivered in these parts because they do not have water supply as well. Situation pretty bad over here for people, and if you see the people over here, most of them older lot who cannot leave the city, many who do not want to leave the city. The entire city of Mariupol, which once was a prosperous city, one that had a lot of economic and revenues, today stands absolutely in a shambles. We will be taking you through the city and through the ruins. This is a city that will take a long time to recover, to rebuild. With the journalist Satya Rautre in Mariupol, Geeta Mohan for India Today. Amid constant shelling, this is a city that is absolutely dead, destroyed, and the destruction that you see over here with the buildings and the missile attacks, the rocket attacks that this city of Mariupol has faced, no matter how strategic it is for Russia or for Ukraine, it is going to be very difficult to bring it back to its past glory. Mariupol was a very important city when it comes to being the land bridge between Crimea and Donetsk for Russia, and therefore a crucial city. But we've been told to be very careful. This is an absolutely burnt down building, but there are some other buildings that are still there, and there are fighters. Gun battle that is underway in and around Mariupol. There are snipers as well, and this time around, it's sad that even press has not been spared. So the journalists over here also have to take extra precaution and be careful. The bombings continue, shellings continue, and a city that was once prosperous today is absolutely destroyed. Russia and Ukraine will have to do a lot more than just talks and negotiations. There's a lot of explaining as to why so many people have died when there could have been a way, a route through diplomacy. With video journalist Satya Rautre in Mariupol, Geeta Mohan for India Today.
Across the city of Mariupol, the Ukrainian forces have gone ahead and placed sea mines, the purpose of which is still unknown. Take a look at this report.
These are naval mines, or what they call sea mines, that Ukrainian side has left in many parts of Mariupol. We try to ask as to why are sea mines here in Mariupol. There was no specific answer, but quite a few places you'd find these mines kept or placed. What the purpose is or what the Ukrainians were planning to do with them, still unknown. With video journalist Satya Rautre in Mariupol, Geeta Mohan for India Today.
The ones fighting for their lives have been struggling for basic amenities, seeking food, essentials and relief material. Locals have flocked the Metro shopping centre right from 7 a.m. Long queues could be seen outside the shopping centre consisting of desperate Mariupol citizens. Take a look.
This is the biggest humanitarian crisis that the people of Mariupol are facing. A sea of humanity, sea of people over here outside the Metro shopping center, which has now become an aid and humanitarian assistance center. Long queues of people waiting from 7 a.m. in the morning just to get basic food supplies. This entire area now is under Russian control, and that's why it's the Russian and the Donetsk agencies that are working over here to supply food and humanitarian aid to the people of Mariupol. Mariupol has a majority of population that are either Russian speaking or of Russian origin, and that's the reason why when we spoke to people over here, many women in tears, because they do not know where to go and how to go, where to find safety, is the reason why they're staying in their homes. They come here early in the morning to collect their assistance, their basic supplies, and then return home to feel a little safer than what we hear. We're hearing music, Russian national songs, but this is all amid bombardment, shelling and sounds of explosion. With video journalist Satya Rautre in Mariupol, Geeta Mohan for India Today.
Сообщить ей, если она увидит, что мы живы и здоровы в Мариуполе находимся сейчас. Они улетели.
рукой. Russian, Mariupol.
Что мы живы и здоровы. Я обращаюсь к своей дочери Важинской Оксане Викторовне. Пусть она слышит, что мы живы и здоровы в Мариуполе.
Они живы, они в Голландии. Это Европа, там
Это
люди.
все, что я хотела сказать, если вдруг она...
Западенцы Западной Украины.
Так, перестань,
И Зеленский
Виталий.
создал войну, негодяй.
Виталий,
Правильно? Нужно только миром решать любой вопрос. Любой. Не бывает стрелять друг в друга, правильно? Надо уважать людей. От маленького до старика. И делиться. Господь нас не... Я был...
Мы можем найти с дочкой, мы поможем вам найти дочь.
Что мы живы и здоровы в Голландии.
Okay. They just want to find her daughter. She is now in Europe, in Holland. So she is a doctor of first aid. So they are very worried about their daughter. They want her to know that they are alive and they are okay now.
People, no connectivity, like I said. This lady over here is only asking and trying to send out a message to her daughter in Europe. Where in Europe? Where?
Yes. Мы не знаем, она уехала из
Она
Киева.
спортсменка, конник.
Месяц назад она
А у нее муж?
беженцы.
А у нее муж
Спасибо вам большое.
это, спортсмен,
Спасибо.
кино снимается. Он крокодил. Женя, фамилия.
Снится.
Понимаете, говорю, такие люди, говорю, мы просто простые люди.
Знаете номера телефонов дочери?
This is a set of parents who are desperate to reach out to their daughter somewhere in Europe. They do not know where, but they just want to say that they're alive, that for now they're safe, and that the daughters should know. Alexander over here has been doing the very same thing. He's been taking contacts and details because Mariupol does not really have connectivity. So he takes their photographs. You can see Alexander's taking photographs. Then he takes their numbers and he connects with family members outside of Mariupol.
Над головой. Разве можно такое терпеть? Я не оправдываю ни ту, ни другую сторону. Это воинские преступления. Ночью, нет голоса нет, ночью бомбить мирных людей. Это подлость. Самая настоящая. И ничем не оправдано. Продали страну без референдума. Мы виноваты. Нет. Я считаю, что это нужно отвечать. Не знаю. Я уже ни ООН, ни Гааги, никому не верю. Все продано.
Okay, she don't believe Gaga, don't believe OON. She claims that all of people could be in the safe place if it will be organized well. There's enough safe places for people here, but still they were at home in the night when shelling comes. So first time her house was burned, they stopped the fire, but in the second time it burned fully.